Hey YouTube, it's me again with another video series. In this series I will be discussing the secrets behind Noah's flood, what brought the deluge that nearly wiped everyone off the face of the earth, except for Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives. A total of 8 people, along with the few animals that were aboard the ark. In order to find out more in regards to the days of Noah, you need to turn to the book of Genesis, chapter 6. And we're going to focus on verse 4. Verse 4 reads, "There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown." I've seen the clue. How about you? Verse 4 says there were giants in the earth in those days, but also after that. Now I have a few questions concerning verse 4 of Genesis chapter 6. My first question is, why were there giants in the days of Noah? My second question is, who are these sons of God being mentioned in Genesis 6:4? You have 2 primary views on the identity of the sons of God. 1, that they were godly descendants of Seth. 2, that they were fallen angels. In the Old Testament, there are verses that refer to the sons of God as angels. You can read about it in the book of Job, chapter 1 and verse 6, chapter 2 and verse 1, and chapter 38 and verse 7. There are also some verses throughout the Bible which refer to man as being sons of God. What you have nowadays is people are getting the sons of God confused. They don't know how to distinguish the difference between the earthly sons of God and the heavenly sons of God. You got to know the difference if you are to make any sense of what the scriptures say. You also have some people with the theory that these giants that were in the earth, that they weren't not literal physical giants as far as stature and size goes, but that they were mental giants, normal human beings with high capacity. Well, we're going to see if there's any weight to that. But for now, I want to focus on the sons of God that are being mentioned here in Genesis 6:4. Now, you have those that like to say that these sons of God were godly descendants of Seth, intermarrying with the wicked daughters of Cain. Now, I will say this. I have read in some apocryphal texts, as well as in some pseudepigraphal books, that this was going on. You did have some descendants of Seth marrying the wicked daughters of Cain. However, I would not apply that theory to verse 4. You would have to go up a few verses to verse 2, where it says, "The sons of God saw that the daughters of man, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose." Now, from my own personal research and in my own personal opinion, I would say, yes, that was going on, but I would apply that theory to verse 2, not verse 4, because if you're trying to make a connection from verse 2 with verse 4, you have to ask yourself, how is it that 2 normal human beings, a man and a woman, coming together can produce a giant? It doesn't make any sense. Furthermore, if you had a group of individuals causing trouble, and I'm referring to the theory that these sons of God were descendants of Seth and the daughters of Cain, if you have these individuals causing trouble, why is it that all of a sudden God wants to destroy everyone in the earth based on these 2 groups of individuals? It makes no sense. If it was human beings just living a loose lifestyle with poor morals, like many in today's world, why don't we get a severe judgment every few hundred years? As it says here in verse 3, God gave them 120 years to get their act together before he brought the flood. You don't see God trying to bring a severe judgment every generation, every few 120 years, because of people's lifestyle and poor morals. It makes no sense. So, I want to touch on my second theory in regards to the sons of God in Genesis 6:4, that they were fallen angels. Now that makes a lot more sense. Hence why you have your giants. Thus why you will need a giant flood to get rid of these giants corrupting the land. On that note, I'm going to end this video for part 1. And I will go into further detail in part 2 of this video series. For those of you that are wondering, how on earth can angels reproduce? How is it possible for heavenly beings to be able to reproduce with human women? I will discuss that in part 2 or part 3 of this video series. But for now, you guys have to soak this in. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Ciao.